What's up, Vikings Nation? Welcome back, Purple Family. Today we've got a massive Minnesota Vikings news update that could shake the future of this team in a big way, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every second of this. There's tension, there's strategy, and there's a growing storm around one of the most important figures in this franchise right now. The Minnesota Vikings are fighting hard to protect something special, but the rest of the NFL is watching closely. Stick with me until the end, because what's happening behind the scenes with Brian Flores could change everything. Not just for the Vikings, but for the entire league. The Minnesota Vikings have made one thing crystal clear this offseason. Keeping Brian Flores is priority number one. This organization knows exactly what it has, and it's not taking any chances. Since arriving in Minnesota, Flores has transformed this defense into one of the most aggressive, disciplined, and feared units in the NFL. In just 3 seasons, the Vikings' defense has become a weekly problem for opposing quarterbacks. That kind of impact doesn't go unnoticed, and the front office understands that losing Flores would be more than just losing a coordinator. It would be losing an identity. Head coach Kevin O'Connell hasn't been shy about his stance. Behind closed doors and in public, he's made it clear that Brian Flores is vital to the Vikings' long-term vision. O'Connell emphasized respect, patience, and trust in the process, while also expressing strong confidence that a deal can be done. Those words matter, especially in a league where silence often means uncertainty. When a head coach speaks that openly, it tells you just how much leverage and value Flores carries inside the Minnesota Vikings organization. But here's where things get complicated, Vikings fans. While Minnesota is working overtime on a contract extension, the rest of the NFL is circling like sharks. Elite defensive minds don't stay available for long, and Brian Flores is one of the most respected football minds in the game today. Teams looking for leadership, culture, and toughness see him as the full package. And now, a new layer of pressure has entered the conversation, one that could test the Vikings' resolve. Recent NFL reports and league chatter have sparked speculation around the Pittsburgh Steelers and their future at head coach. While nothing has been officially confirmed, there is growing discussion about potential changes in Pittsburgh. After years of playoff frustration and early exits, analysts are debating what direction the Steelers might take if they choose to reset their leadership structure. This is where Brian Flores' name begins to surface, not as a certainty, but as a serious and logical candidate if an opening ever materializes. It's important to be clear here, Vikings Nation. There is no official announcement of Mike Tomlin stepping down, and any claims suggesting that are speculative at best. However, in NFL circles, preparation starts before decisions are made. Teams quietly build lists, evaluate fits, and plan scenarios long before fans hear a single word. And when those lists are discussed, Brian Flores consistently appears near the top. From a cultural standpoint, Flores makes sense for Pittsburgh. He's tough, disciplined, direct, and unapologetically demanding. Traits the Steelers have valued for decades. This is an organization that hired Mike Tomlin at 34 years old when others questioned his readiness. Pittsburgh has never followed trends. They follow conviction. Flores fits that mold perfectly, which is why speculation alone is enough to make Minnesota nervous. Another key factor is Flores' ongoing lawsuit against the NFL. For some franchises, that could be viewed as a risk. But history tells us the Steelers aren't afraid of that kind of situation. Art Rooney II was the first owner to bring Flores in after the lawsuit became public. That tells you everything you need to know about how Pittsburgh views Brian Flores, as a leader, not a liability. And it's not just Pittsburgh keeping tabs. Flores has also drawn interest from other organizations around the league. Reports confirm that he recently completed an interview with the Baltimore Ravens, another franchise that values defensive excellence and strong leadership. When multiple respected organizations are lining up, it validates exactly what Vikings fans already know: Flores is elite. So now the pressure is officially on the Minnesota Vikings front office. This isn't just about money. It's about commitment, vision, and convincing Brian Flores that Minnesota is the place where he can build something historic. Because once a coach like this feels undervalued or uncertain, the league will waste no time making their move. From a football perspective, losing Flores would be devastating. His schemes disguise pressure, confuse quarterbacks, and maximize player strengths. Under his guidance, the Vikings defense has ranked among the league's best in efficiency, third down stops, and red zone performance. Those aren't flukes, those are fingerprints of elite coaching. More importantly, players believe in him. Veterans respect him. Young players grow faster under his system. That kind of locker room trust is rare, and it's something the Minnesota Vikings cannot afford to reset. Kevin O'Connell knows this. That's why his words weren't casual, they were strategic. Public confidence is often the first step toward private negotiations reaching the finish line. Still, Vikings fans can't ignore the risk. Head coaching opportunities change careers forever. Flores has already been a head coach. He knows what it means, and he knows the window doesn't stay open forever. That reality puts urgency on Minnesota's timeline. This moment could define the Vikings' next 5 years. Do they lock down one of the brightest defensive minds in football, or do they risk watching him lead another franchise to success? That's the question hanging over this offseason. So now I want to hear from you, Vikings Nation. Should the Minnesota Vikings do whatever it takes to keep Brian Flores? Would you be willing to sacrifice elsewhere if it meant protecting the heart of this defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you love Minnesota Vikings news, real analysis, and passionate football talk, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with every Vikings fan you know. This offseason is just getting started, and the biggest battles aren't happening on the field yet.